So, look, Fairfield deserves a lot of credit. They made some big shots and made some big plays at both ends at key times. When I look at the numbers over the course of the game, our rebounding numbers are good, but I thought that key times when we needed to rebound, we didn't get it. And that consistency is what's plaguing us right now. There's no question that we can play. There's no question that we do play. And you see some really, really good basketball in stretches. You see some players show that they can really, really play at a high level in stretches. We don't have the consistency yet, both collectively and individually. Especially, like I said, today on the defensive end, I thought in the second half, we gave their best shooters shot after shot after shot. When you give really good shooters more opportunities, they're going to make it. And to Fairfield's credit, they've got some good players who stepped up in some really, really big ways. I see tons and tons of potential in our young kids. We for the majority of the minutes out there, we had 2 freshmen and 3 sophomores playing, and you saw some really, really good stuff. But we saw a lot of just lack of execution or lack of focus errors, which unfortunately often comes with youth. But look, we're not in the business of making excuses. That's the team we've got out there. There's plenty of talent, there's plenty of character, there's plenty of heart, and we need to be able to get over the hump and win these games.
Coach, one of the things that you were missing early this year, Emma Guy, I know you talked a lot about in the preseason, the potential that you saw from her. 6 from 8 for the floor today, 12 points. What did you see out of her performance and how that backs up what you saw early on in the year?
Yeah, so look, the reality is we're dealing with a lot of injuries and illness as well. And again, one of our mantras is we don't make excuses and we don't let other people make excuses for. What I'm proud of Emma is that she's coming back from mono. Here's a kid who missed 6 weeks of conditioning, and we've been able to up her minutes. She's been working really, really hard to get her conditioning back, to get her legs back, and I'm really proud of the fight that I saw in her. This was her highest minutes that she's been able to give us by far. She got herself in foul trouble the last couple games. Today, she was able to stay out of foul trouble, play much more disciplined. She's obviously gives us a huge lift. And that's why, again, I'm disappointed that we weren't able to win a game in which we started to see the real Emma Guy coming back. We've seen the real Sydney Lowry. We've seen the real Milan Bolden Morris. We've seen the real Georgia Pinot. We've seen the real Taylor Ortlep. And we saw pieces of those. But we're a team that we don't have superstars. We've got a good crew that fights together, and there's plenty of talent on that team. But we've got to be more consistent because we do need contributions from all the way around. We need that balance. We don't just have somebody that can just save the day by taking the thing on their shoulders.
Coach, you had 16 points from Bolden Morris, 18 from Ortlep today in terms of your top couple of scorers. In terms of the potential that you're talking about with them, how have they continued to improve their games here in their sophomore and freshman seasons?
Yeah, so Taylor and Mimi, as we call her, look, those are our 2 best shooters. And again, looking at the stats, a large percentage of their points came from behind the arc. They both have the ability to get to the rim as well and get to the line. I think that's something that Taylor has really started to do better. Is she's a physical guard. She uses her body, and I think both of our freshmen are taking some lessons from her in terms of being able to be balanced. Milan is again such a beautiful 3-point shooter, and she's finding her little mid-range game. She needs to continue to be able to get to the rim better. And again, these are things we work on every day in practice. And look, the good news is, as devastating as a loss like this is, this group comes to practice every day. They come to fight. And I've heard Coach Adazio, I've heard lots of other coaches talk about that. That's when you've got a group. And that we need to make sure that we don't lose confidence because of the result of a game like this. It's certainly a game that when you look at the schedule, you expect to be able to win a game like this. But the reality is everybody's good. Fairfield's good. They're well coached. They've got really, really good players. And they came in and they did their job tonight.
In the first half, both teams started shooting a lot from the outside, but as the second half started, there was a lot more emphasis on playing in the paint. Was that part of the game plan, or did it just start to happen?
So, yeah, what happens in a game like that, and you ask a good question, is, often the defense is dictating what they're willing to live with, right? And so, when we make some shots and then they come out and pressure us on the outside a little bit more, obviously what's available is inside. And again, I think we have a really balanced team. We're still learning to be able to play and make the reads, understand, okay, hey, they're playing us this way, we need to get the ball inside, we need to dive, we need to cut, we need to drive to the basket. If when they sink in, we need to be able to kick the ball out. And again, I saw some really, really nice possessions. The reality is there was just too few of those, and they made the plays when it counted.
Last question. They took a lot of threes like throughout the game, and I was just wondering, were you willing to let them shoot, or were you not trying to
No,
let them?
right? So again, you know, your question is excellent. When you've got a team that can really shoot, and I think they had a poor percentage at halftime. I can't remember. They were like 5 for 18 or something. But our staff, we looked at it and we said the problem is they squeezed off 18 shots, and we gave them 18 shots. And sometimes you get yourself a false sense of security when they miss. But one of the things we know about really good shooters is if you let them keep shooting, they're going to start making it, right? So no, absolutely not. You know, the threes that their best shooters got were mistakes by us. And when you add all those up to them getting that many shots off by their best shooters, and that's where we have to be more disciplined, is there's certain kids that you say, hey, we're going to live with that with her so that we can help other places. But in terms of following the game plan and chasing screens, there was just too many inconsistencies. And again, give Fairfield some credit. They run some good stuff. Their kids cut hard. They found their players for open shots. But no, it was absolutely not something we were going to live with. But give Fairfield the credit for gaining what they needed.